What is up, squad? It's your boy Jay, back at again another reaction video. First off, before I say the name of the video, I just wanted to say that it is midnight and I feel quite stupid and a little nervous because my mother's asleep in her room. I'm in my room by myself, the only light in the entire house, except for my TV on at a low volume. I can only hear it. I don't think you guys can. All I'm doing is I'm working on the computer and doing a reaction video. Well, I wouldn't say working though. I'm just saying. So I got to be quiet as possible. The reason why I say quiet as possible is because my mother is in sleep. She has a little headache, and I'm trying to be respectful as possible. So this is. Wait, let me check my channel real quick. Anyway, I was just checking my channel on my YouTube to see if I'm going in order, because I already did 10 more disturbing true stories volume 2 already, so this is volume 3. So let's get it on. And also it's 12 midnight, it's 4 after, but not forever. So I'm gonna keep on doing these and let go. Don't do this at night, guys, by yourself. Don't do it.
This happened to my dad when he was a little kid. I think it messed him up a bit emotionally, but he never admitted it. This story freaks me out just imagining it. So I'm pretty sure my dad was 10 years old, and he was home alone for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He was watching TV in the living room. It was the only TV in the house. And all of a sudden, the TV just shut off. So he got up and turned it back on. It was an old shitty TV, so it wasn't weird at all.
Makes sense.
When he got back on his couch, it happened again. He got up once again and turned the TV back on. And again it turned off. He repeated this process a couple more times before he started to look for the remote. While looking for the remote, he walked over.
Hold up. I hate trying to pause it though, but I gotta be quiet as possible though. But I'm like, just because this may be the only TV in your house, and why didn't you try to get the remote to turn on the TV anyway? To make sense, cause look what I got. I turned this on when I got here. I turned on the TV with the remote always, like that. You should always do that. Don't try to you know what I'm saying.
To check behind one of the couches and saw a man hiding in the corner holding the TV remote. My dad described the man as having long, messy hair and a crazed look in his eyes. He gave my dad a smile, and my dad ran out the front door screaming like a little girl. He went to his neighbors, who called the police. The man was still in the house when the police got there, so he was arrested.
Stupid. That will be the next person on the dumbest criminals compilation. I'm not sure how many compilations they did. I know they did more than 10, because I heard some of the dumbest criminals ever, like trying to bite the police officer so the police officer would let go, but he just elbowed this lady, and I'm like, bruh, I understand this was back when our parents were our age, but I mean, like, by ages, I mean, like, he said a little kid. I would say that's about like between 3 to 6 or 5. I say 3 to 5 years old. But if that's a little kid, I'll understand that he getting scared. But that criminal though, criminals back then were easier to catch instead of hiding. But nowadays, the police officers just either they don't try to find the person who broke into your house or who stole your phone. They be like, hey, that ain't my responsibility. They just be sitting back, eating that donut. Hate saying the police officers are stereotypes. But in WA, what you said about the cops, I'm still 50-50 with that. I wouldn't say F them all. I would say whatever. I'm off topic. Sorry.
My dad told me that he still assumes the man was either homeless or crazy. Either way, this story is downright terrifying.
That's how they were in the past, but nowadays they got drug addicts and everything.
My friend told me about something that happened to her when she was younger, about 8 or 9. She was walking home from school and got her key out to let herself into the house. Her single mom worked and came home later on weekdays. As she reached up to put the key in the door.
That's my mama too. She gets home, like when she's working, it depends. But if it's on a weekday, I would say she would get home like from either 5 to even 8 o'clock at night. Between those times, that's when I be waiting for her. But if she's trying to bring a friend over, like one of my friends, some of her friends, she'll be taking some time because they live in different parts of the city, like my town. But anyway, I think you guys heard that in the last horror story, which would be the title is called 10 More True Stories, Volume 2, I think. Because I viewed it myself and see if I needed to edit it. But anyway, let's continue. That's just like my mama. She does get home late sometimes. And she been working for quite a while.
Her mom opened it in a dressing gown, having left work sick. Instead of greeting her, she looked straight past my friend and immediately said, "Who are you?" My friend turned around, and a man in a long coat hurried back down the path and down the street. Being ill that day had possibly saved her daughter from something potentially horrible happening to her.
I finally got it. I finally got the point of that story. This is what happened. Storm was following the mother when she got home. And the daughter probably saw somebody that she didn't even know right behind the mother. Didn't greet the mother. And she's like this. "Who are you?" Now I got it. And then the mother's like, "You talking to me?" Like it was like that for me. I wouldn't say turn around. I would say, "Can you move real quick?" And I would just, but it's pretty late right now. So why am I even doing this? Well, number 8 right now. So but it's 12 in the morning. So let's continue.
Before I start this story, I want to note that Jacob's mother is a drug addict, and his father really didn't have much wrong with him outside of being with his mother. So one night, when Jacob and his father were asleep, they heard a series of loud banging, scratching, and moving noises coming from the mother's room. Jacob's father jumped out of the bed and ran down the hall and started slamming on the door. His mother opened it, yelling at him to quiet down and that he woke her up. He asked her about the sounds. She hadn't been awake to hear them. Jacob's dad would have assumed that she was on something again.
True.
But something was wrong. The window was open all the way, and the TV was moved across the room, still plugged in, and had the screen facing outside. Jacob's dad was reasonably scared. He shut the window, got his bat, locked the mother's room from the outside, and made her sleep in the living room. He stayed up most of the night. He woke up Jacob at 5. It was still dark out. Jacob went out to the kitchen where his mother already was. A couple minutes later, his dad walked in, wide-eyed. He pointed at Jacob and his mother and held his finger to his lips. They both quieted down. They heard something shuffling around on the roof, going from edge to edge. Jacob's dad had the bat. They sat together in the room, quietly. Minutes later, the sound went away. Jacob's grandmother was called. She was asked if everybody could stay over there for a little while. She said yes and told them she'd come pick them up. Jacob finished eating and went to go sit on the...
Bad move. Well, going to your grandma's house ain't a bad move, but let me tell you what you did wrong. You should have called the police. Just because you may think it's your wife that does the drugs. I don't want to say the wife, I would say the mother. Like, the mother that they're talking about in this story, she is a drug addict, like they said in the beginning. I've been remembering that, but the husband kept saying that you're probably on that stuff. Like, no, I'm not. I ain't high on it. I swear, I was asleep. That stuff was moved. I hearing sounds on the roof. But what did he do? He just sat in the living room with a bat with his son. What did they not? I mean, what should they do? Or should have done to stay safe? Let me tell you the one thing I would do. First off, I would call 911, and then I would get one of my knives, and 3, hide somewhere. I'm either going in my attic or in one of my house's closets. Oh man, I almost said clowns. One of my house closets. I have 4. Wait, I got 3 closets. Yeah, one of my 3 closets in this entire house, or the bathroom. I would say my mother's bathroom, because she has the master bedroom. I'm in one of my my bedrooms right now. This is my room. That's her room. That's the guest room, right over there. So I'll be hiding in one of those smaller rooms or the attic, because I wouldn't say the attic because it takes too much time, and it's just crazy, man. If you feel uncomfortable or unsafe and you... What's with people these days? Let's just continue. I ain't got nothing else to say.
Couch. There was no TV in that room, so he sat in silence. He looked over at a door to an empty room in the hallway. The door was open. There was a finger wrapped around the side of it. Jacob screamed and pointed to it, and his father grabbed him and ran out. Jacob's mother followed behind. They went to a gas station and sat out front until they saw Jacob's grandmother's truck. Jacob described how unnatural the finger looked to me. He said it reminded him a little bit of a foam finger in length and width. It was wrapped clear around the door frame, the door itself being latched on the opposite side. They didn't go back to that house much after that. Once they'd gotten everything out of it, they never went back again. Nothing was stolen, and the window in the empty room was open.
Nothing was talking about the police.
I was 13 years old. I had the most isolated bedroom imaginable. Mix that with a wild imagination, and I was often up late at night, scared and paranoid, unable to fall asleep.
Not me.
My bedroom was a separate floor of the house, on the opposite side of my parents' room. They had no way of hearing what was going on in my room. So it was a seemingly ordinary night, with a bit of rain, but not a storm.
Dang.
I woke up and looked at my clock, and saw that it was 2 in the morning. I got an uncomfortable feeling right away, but I didn't know why. I then saw at the edge of my bed, there was a shadow of something roundish just over the head of the edge of my bed. My heart started racing until I realized it was just my hat. I sometimes hung my hat on one of the wooden poles at the edge of my bed, so I calmed myself down and fell back asleep. I woke up again around half an hour later and was again startled by the sight of the shadow at the end of my bed. But after my brain started to fully wake up, I remembered it was just my hat again. This process happened one more time that night, probably another half hour later, and once again, I was startled by the sight of the shadow. I was getting thirsty, so I reached my hand down to the side of my bed, looking for my water bottle, but I instead found something else. My hat. And at that instant, I felt my heart drop into my stomach, as I almost fell out of my bed trying to turn the lamp on. The light revealed the face of a man, peering over the edge of my bed, staring right into my eyes. I let out the highest pitched scream a boy could possibly produce and ran straight past the man and down the stairs of my room. I felt the man try to grab me, but I managed to open the door and run to my parents' room to get my dad. My dad got the baton from under his bed and raced to my room, but he was too late. When we got back to my room, the window was wide open. Apparently the man jumped out onto the patio roof outside my window.
No. Hell no. Let me tell you this. First off, sad thing is I can't put an example. I can, but the reason why I say I can but can't, because I don't have what he had, like some side tables on the side of the bed. I don't. So it's like this. I'm using my mother's room for example, because I slept in that room one morning and she told me to get out as usual. So it's like say I left my phone on the side of my bed and I put in my passcode that I remember and it doesn't no I set an alarm, wait, no, not the passcode, I set an alarm for a certain time and it goes off an hour earlier and then I change it back. It goes an hour earlier from the time it was. Like, let's say it went from 7 to 6, and after 6 it went to 5. And then I try to find out, and I look around. Then I look under my bed, because I have 2 people here. But there's a third person that we don't even know about. That would be the person that's like the antagonist. Prankster / intruder homeless guy. I wouldn't scream. I'll be yelling profanity and got my knife on him. But if he had a gun, I know one of you guys had said that, like, what if he had a gun? There's no what if. We strapped. You have to tell us that. There's no reason, because we got a military family. I'll be on 911 while I'm looking for someone. That's somebody. That, homeless guy. I was telling her, like, excuse me, operator. Yeah, I've been seeing some weird stuff going on in my house. And my alarms have been going down each hour. I wake up at 7 in the morning every day. But it kept going down each hour each night. When I started looking at the bottom, up and all around, oh shoot, man, I found somebody under my bed. Please send some cops over. But do you know what they just do? All they tell you is, like, to go in your closet, go in the bathroom, go in your bedroom. They help though, but not enough. But if anybody had the nerve to do it to me, get ready to have some lines. Like, by lines I mean across your chest. It means not to mess with me. With something metallic.
When I was a kid, I had a huge group of friends that all happened to be on my block. On the weekend nights, we would always play manhunt, aka hide and go seek for older people. It worked out great because since we were all neighbors, we used all the front and backyards and even the woods behind our houses. We had a rule though, that we couldn't go out more than a backyard's length into the woods. I always used the same hiding spot, and nobody ever found me. I always hid behind an old rusty barrel that was thrown into the woods years ago. So on this particular night, there were only 6 of us playing. My friends Joe and Raj were on my team. We quickly dispersed as we were the first to hide. I ran to my usual hiding spot, through my backyard into the woods behind the barrel. Usually I would see the flashlights of the other team shining through the backyards in the woods, but it was unusually quiet this time.
This game sounds fun.
And then, I finally heard footsteps nearby. I didn't see a flashlight, so I assumed it was one of my teammates. I whispered Joe and Raj's names, but then whoever it was started charging at me, full-on sprinting. I immediately shot up and ran out of the woods to find a new hiding spot in my backyard, but nobody ever came out of the woods. I heard all my friends calling my name from out front, including Joe and Raj, so I assumed something was wrong and went up front. I saw Joe's parents talking with my parents, with all my friends surrounding. My parents seemed a bit relieved to see me, so I was naturally really confused. They told me that a police officer had just passed by and warned them about a serial rapist spotted in the area and that all the kids should stay indoors. I explained what happened to me in the woods, and my parents started freaking out, making 100% sure that I wasn't lying. They called the police. I really don't know if he was ever caught, but I really hope he was. I try not to think about what would have happened to me had whoever that was caught me.
Yo, for the first time in my life, that story right there, that story right there just gave me goosebumps, like going across me, going from my left side, being the strongest, and it goes straight to my weak side. But wait, ain't I'm strong on my left? Oh man, here they go again. Actually went on my right to my left, because I'm weaker on the right side of my body, and I'm strong on the left. Because if you see, like, if the ladies see me, like my girlfriend saw me lifting my weights, she would see this thing grow. Oh shoot! And all my, like, most of my arm hair are standing up right now, and I feel hair on my back, neck, like they're like this, straight up. So here we go. Sorry for this video being so long.
When I was maybe 12 or 13, me, my mom, my stepdad, and 2 dogs went to the beach for a weekend. We rented an apartment all the way at the back of the shore. The apartment had nothing surreal to it at first sight. We unpacked everything and went out for dinner straight afterwards. We came back, and at the time it was maybe 9 p.m. We watched some TV for an hour or so. My mom, stepdad, and 2 dogs slept on a bed you could make from the couch. They gave me the bedroom with a king-sized bed. I went to bed and used my computer for a while to play some games that I had pre-installed since I knew that there would be no internet connection there. I stayed up playing games pretty late at night. I decided it was time to get some shut-eye and go to sleep. Maybe after 5 minutes of laying in my bed, complete silence filled the room. But then, all of a sudden, I hear this extremely loud sigh. I knew it wasn't my parents or the dogs, considering the door to the living room was closed.
Son. It's that. I don't want to say it though, but this is what I would do. If I hear a sigh, like a loud sigh from under my bed, and I'm sleeping, man, I'm running right out my door, because sometimes I sleep with my door open instead of closed, but right now my door is closed, so that way I won't make that much noise. And but that sigh though, man, damn. If I saw that, like if I heard that sigh, I'd be yelling like crazy. I would tell my mother, I'd say, "Ma, I hear this sigh right here. Was that you? Or am I hallucinating? Because I know I ain't hallucinating or nothing." Oh, I don't know what else to do.
I straight bolted from that room and went to sleep in the bedroom opposite of the master bedroom. My heart was pounding so fast because I was absolutely petrified. Needless to say, no sleep was had that night. I told my parents about it the next morning, and they told me it was probably just my imagination, but I was certain it was not.
That's what parents always say. They don't help. Well, they do.
This story still gives me
Certain
nightmares
cases.
to this day. I was staying with one of my best friends in North Carolina where I had a job interview. I was coming from New Jersey and my friend Mike offered to let me crash at his place for a few days. He didn't necessarily live too close to the company I was interviewing for, about 2 hours away, but I also just wanted to see one of my good friends again. So this happened after the second interview. I came back to Mike's place in a good mood as I had been offered the job on the spot. We celebrated in the yard that night with a few friends and a few beers, or a lot of beers. We stayed up late and basically got shit-faced. People were coming and going all night. That's the kind of person Mike is. He didn't really keep track of who entered and left his house. So at about 4 in the morning, after everyone had left, we called it a night. I struggled to make it up the stairs and to the bathroom. I drained the snake and soaked my face with hot water, and it was at that moment that I thought I could see something in the corner of my eye. I turned to the half-open door and saw an eye poking in at me through the crack of the door. I let out a loud, holy shit, and in my drunken klutzy
Bro, let me tell you this. Mr. Nightmare stories are quite entertaining. But let me tell you this. All them sound effects, though, them certain ones, like, they are quite, like, they keep catching me off guard now. I'm like, it's like someone did a smack cam on me and I didn't expect it. Like if they about to do this to me, I would dodge it. But if I don't see it coming, like my head is down, and they try to smack me on the side of my face, like corner of my eye right here, I can still see my hand without me moving my whole head. But if it was like right here, I don't expect it. See, unless it's in my like this zone here. Like I can't see my hand that I got. Like you may not get it. You can still see it though, but I can't. Whatever.
I fell to the floor.
I can explain this though.
When I got back on my feet, the eye was gone. I stumbled out of the bathroom and called Mike's name. I heard him call out in response from downstairs in the kitchen. It couldn't have possibly been him. I didn't hear anyone go down the stairs, but I asked if he was up there anyway. Expectedly, he replied with a no. I can't remember fully, but I assume I just brushed it off under the assumption that I had too much to drink. I made it to the guest bedroom and basically fell onto the bed, barely managing to throw the covers over myself. You know when you're drunk you fall asleep easier.
True.
That's an understatement.
True.
I think I fell asleep.
I don't drink, so don't judge me when I say true. Because why I say true? Because I have a couple of drinkers in my family, and when they about to go to sleep, they go to sleep like they took NyQuil, like half the bottle of NyQuil, and it'd be like this. Like they don't try to get comfortable enough, and they just fly onto the bed. Within 90 seconds, they oh shoot. Like within 90 seconds, they are KO for real. Like if they just got shot or something. I could be like, hey, and they will remember stuff like within 5 hours in their sleep. So what's the big deal?
Sleep seconds after falling onto that bed, only to wake up after an unknown duration of sleep. I immediately felt the unbearable headache coming on and began to rub my head. It was probably a little before sunrise. The room was a bit chilly. My foot was sticking out of the covers, hanging over the edge of the bed. And then it happened. I felt something extremely cold grab onto my foot and start stroking it. I then heard a raspy voice whisper the words.
Hold the hell up. Stroking it? Man, if you plug my feet, you can get your kicked. You're gonna get kicked or you're gonna get this foot jabbed into your eye, nose, or mouth. And I don't care what I hit. I don't care what you are, who you are. You're still gonna get kicked. Like, see my foot's like this, what they mostly be, or this, like when you're laying on your back. You're gonna get like my foot gonna come up and then pow in your face, or just like my leg comes up and then like 5 knives stabbed in your face.
Can you help me? I sat up and screamed at the top of my lungs before sprinting out of the bed and out of the room, meeting Mike at the top of the stairs. I called the police and they arrived shortly. The intruder was actually a woman in her late 40s who clearly suffered from some kind of addiction. She admitted to simply walking right into Mike's house and hiding in a closet. The eye I saw was hers, peeking at me while in the bathroom.
I thought it was a man.
I always make sure to cover my feet with my sheets now.
Good idea.
It was the dead of winter in Cali. Me and a couple buddies were on a skiing trip by South Lake Tahoe. We stayed in a big luxurious log cabin for a few nights. On the third night during a blizzard, I got up to get a glass of water late in the night. As I crossed the cabin over to the kitchen, there was a frantic knock at the door. I was a bit spooked that somebody would be knocking this late. I thought maybe I should just ignore it and let them go away. But I realized they knew we were there, as my car was parked right outside. I also had the thought that maybe somebody was in trouble and needed to get out of the dangerous weather. I tiptoed over to the door and waited for another knock. It didn't take too long before the knocking came again, this time much louder and more frantic. "Who is it?" I asked. Nobody answered. I asked again louder, but there was still no answer.
That's when you stop. That's when you stop. In fact, for me, since I'm like almost a young adult, but about to be 16. My birthday is only since it's midnight. It's the 10th. As I'm posting this, it's only 18 days away. So now you got my birthday. So at my age, I still go by my parents' rules. If anybody knocks at the door, don't go to that door. Don't say nothing. But guess what I do? I go to my room and keep my knife in my pocket. I stay strapped. That's how I be. So even if they keep knocking, don't open that sucker. No. You ain't coming in. You ain't getting me. Nobody get me. Cause I'ma get you if no. Right? I ain't opening my door. You can knock all day until eternity arrives. I ain't opening that door for you. It goes like that.
After I asked this, there was no more knocking. I grew curious and eventually opened the door a crack with the chain lock still on just in case. Nobody was outside. I undid the lock and opened the door completely. There were footprints in the snow leading away from the cabin. For whatever stupid reason, maybe I felt some kind of guilt and worry for a person in need. I slipped on my boots and jacket and stepped out into the storm to follow the footsteps before they were completely filled. The footsteps led me to the edge of the property before completely stopping. I shit you not, the footprints completely ended. Not a sign of vehicle marks, a struggle, nothing. It was as if whoever made the tracks was standing still, right where I was. I felt disturbed and ran back into the cabin and slammed the door shut behind me, making sure to lock it.
Good.
Before I could even gather my thoughts, the frantic knocking at the door resumed. My heart started pounding, and I started to scream for my friends. One by one, they all rushed down to see what was wrong. When we opened the door, there was nobody there. The footprints were already filled. I never could prove what happened to my friends. I don't blame them for not believing me. I almost don't believe myself, but I know it happened. I just can't even try to explain it. It still freaks me out to this day. My friend and I were going to a party a few hours out of town, so we decided to stay at her family's holiday house about an hour south of the party. We arrived around mid-afternoon, and it was winter in a holiday town, so the area was completely empty, no other cars on the street. When we left for the party, I spent a moment deciding whether to pull the gate all the way closed. I'd had some trouble opening it earlier when we arrived, and if we were getting home late at night, I didn't want to be stuck outside. I ended up deciding to shut it for security. The party was great. We got back to the house around 12:30, and the gate was open. I immediately felt on edge because not only did I know that I had locked it, but I knew it couldn't just blow open in the wind. But I didn't want to make a big deal, so I was vague when my friend asked me if I'd shut it. We went inside and decided to make a snack. I was wandering through the house when suddenly my friend raced from the kitchen into the hallway and virtually tackled me to the ground. She was convinced she'd heard someone walking around outside. We tried to calm ourselves down, but we had no cell reception and there was no one else around. Over the next half hour or so, as we sat in the hallway paralyzed with fear, we heard footsteps outside and the back door being jimmied. We decided we had to leave, so we gathered everything up and got ready to make a break for the car. Just as we were at the front door ready to leave, there was a huge bang in the backyard, and suddenly what sounded like hundreds of birds started screaming. We legged it to the car, ended up starting it with all our stuff still on our laps. We hadn't bothered to even put in the back seat. As we reversed out the driveway, we saw somebody running up the side of the house towards us. We sped the entire way home, and didn't sleep at all that night.
Number 1.
When I was 10, and my youngest brother Ben was only 1, there was this one weekend that my parents were painting our bedrooms, so we would have to sleep in the basement. There was a pull-out couch down there that turned...
You know why I stopped this? Let me tell you why. First off, I ain't sleeping in no damn basement. Let me tell you why. I heard so many cases and stories about people in the basement, all that, you know what, BS in the stories and everything. But I don't believe them though. But I know they ain't cliche because Mr. Nightmare doesn't do cliche horror stories. Like the funny ones, no, nothing fake. Because I've never been in the basement before, first off. Second of all, I don't think I would be in a basement. The only time I think I would if there is a horrible storm where we have to go into a basement. Like in that kind of weather where they say it gets somewhere secure. The S word going long, like, no. You ain't making me go down there, man. We ain't going down there. I'd rather go in the attic than the basement. Just tell me that. I'm staying up. Literally, I'm still up and it's 12:40.
Into a bed, and Ben had an extra crib down there. I was only 10, so sleeping in a pitch-dark basement was very uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Somehow, having Ben down there made me feel a bit safer, though. He would wake me up in the middle of the night crying, and for some reason, tending to him made sleeping down there a little less scary. But it was this one time that I woke up to him screaming. Not crying, screaming, like no 1-year-old should. I was scared shitless immediately and ran over to him to see what was wrong. He was standing up looking at me, pointing to something. I looked in the direction he was pointing at. He was pointing into the pitch-dark boiler room right next to his crib. I felt like 1,000 knives just stabbed me in the chest, and even through the heat of the moment, I vaguely remember the faint sound of something falling over in the boiler room, and I felt as if I was being watched in that basement. I grabbed Ben and got the hell out of there as quickly as possible. I have never gone back down in that basement.
Thank God you didn't. Alright. So, number 1 was like so terrifying. I almost felt tears coming through my eyes. I did not want to cry though. Because I never heard a baby scream before. Like, the only time I hear them scream is like if they were about to laugh. Not just straight screaming. Like, straight screaming means like you're actually screaming because you're scared or you're angry. I said number 1 was the worst. And number 8, I think, where they saw somebody behind the mother and they say, "Who are you?" instead of a hello. I didn't get that until it got to the end. I think number 8 and 1 are the scariest. I don't know what the third scariest is. I think all of the rest tie for the top. Just like that. Oh. So anyway, guys, that's my reaction to 10 Horrifying True Stories Volume 3. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next reaction video. Deuces and good night.